Athletes are often called the gladiators of the modern age. And just like the gladiators, their job is not only to win, but also to entertain. The art of trash talking and being funny in a press conference provides great entertainment and can catapult a smack talker into superstardom. Here are the most ruthless and most genius trash talkers in sports history. Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is now one of the 10 most famous athletes on the planet Earth. Even though he's a highly talented fighter, he achieved his popularity not because of his punches, kicks, or wrestling, but because of his big mouth, charisma, and the best mic skills in MMA history. Before Conor, there were some brash smack talkers, there were confident guys, and people who could talk and be funny. But nobody ever combined all those things like the Irishman. From day one, McGregor believed that he was the best fighter in the UFC, and he told everybody that he was going to clean out the entire roster in a spectacular fashion. While some other fighters proved to be all talk and no substance, Mystic Mac would do exactly as he predicted. And as the wins mounted, McGregor's confidence skyrocketed, giving birth to some of the most memorable lines in MMA history.
You look like a 50-year-old retired skateboarder.
Break out the red panties. We're rich, baby.
Who the f*** is that guy?
And these are just the tip of the iceberg of McGregor's spectacular press conferences. Conor's pressers became so sought out, so unscripted, and so funny that they became more amusing than the actual fight. The UFC thought so too, so they started doing extensive promos with McGregor, who toured half the world before his fight with Jose Aldo. Conor talked trash to Aldo for over a year and got him so angry that the Brazilian rushed forward in the first few seconds of the fight, only to get knocked out clean by McGregor, who proved to be mystic once more. McGregor's mental warfare worked like a charm, and he had an uncanny ability to piss off his opponents with his confidence, endless mockery, and funny one-liners. The fact that he was winning in a dominant fashion gave McGregor all the credibility in the world, and that last combination made him by far the biggest star in the sport. Larry Bird. Larry Bird was one of the best basketball players ever. He wasn't very athletic, but he was tall, nimble, and intelligent, paired with amazing hand-eye coordination and a flawless shot. Bird could get buckets on anybody, which gave him supreme confidence to talk a lot of crap and get away with it. He wasn't afraid of anybody on the court, and when he wasn't verbally assaulting his NBA colleagues, we could also see him getting in an occasional fistfight. Bird was absolutely ruthless when he stepped between the 94 feet of the basketball court, and here are some of his trash-talking highlights. Larry would often yell, "I'm open," when an opponent closely guarded him. He'd also say, "You should have found somebody better to guard me. I'm killing this guy," to opposing coaches. When Coach Doug Collins sent a little-known Ben Poquette to guard him, Bird approached him and yelled out, "Ben Poquette? Are you effing kidding?" Larry would often call his shots and tell his opponents what he planned to do, and then do it. His most legendary trash talk is a simple question to his competitors at the 1988 three-point shooting contest. He came into the locker room and asked, "Who's coming in second?" and sucked the air out of the room because everybody knew he was the best shooter on the planet. Muhammad Ali. In 1961, then a 19-year-old Cassius Clay shared a radio interview with the original heel of the wrestling world, Gorgeous George. 46-year-old Gorgeous, who has antagonized American audiences for years, had promised to get a public haircut if he loses to Freddie Blassie. The next day, Clay saw 15,000 people paying to swear at a guy in a shiny coat pretending to be fighting. The future Ali heard the words on which he built his media persona later on in his career. "Boxing, wrestling, it's all a show," said Gorgeous. "A lot of people will pay to see someone shut your mouth, so keep on bragging, keep on sassing, and always be outrageous." Muhammad Ali would follow that recipe to a T, which made him the biggest sports star on the planet. He mastered the art of trash talk, which made him into a superstar. Many adored him, and those who hated him also wanted to see him fight and get knocked out. Ali recited poems, bragged about his skills and looks, talked down on his opponents, called them names, and made them furious. He was the first athlete to use TV interviews as a way of endless self-promotion, and he left a rich legacy of rhymes and insults.
He'll fall an inch to prove that I'm great, and if he keeps talking jive, I'm gonna cut it to 5.
Last night I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark.
To do this. Does a man ever come up to you and say, "Look, I'll..."
If he dreamed it, he better wake up and apologize.
Like a butterfly and sting like a bee. His hands can't hit what his eyes can't see. So that's what happened.
Ali would also talk in the ring. When he fought George Foreman and tried to tire him down using a famous rope-a-dope strategy, he would yell, "Is that all you got?" to George between punches. Foreman was so angry that he kept trying to decapitate Ali. And once his stamina gave out, Ali knocked him out, proving that he's a genius when it comes to talking trash and gaining advantage with his big mouth. Michael Jordan. Throughout his NBA career, Michael Jordan was known as a player who would respond to various provocations from players, coaches, or journalists with an incredible game, and would try his best to humiliate them. The sentence, "I took that personally from The Last Dance," became a meme, but in reality, it was like that, and MJ was someone you did not want to piss off. Because he was the best player on the planet, and arguably the most competitive person ever, Jordan talked mostly with his game, but he also threw many verbal jabs. In a tight 1995 playoff game, Jordan stopped defending 5'3" Muggsy Bogues and said, "Shoot it, you effing midget." After he missed a clutch shot, Muggsy said that his confidence never recovered. Against Steve Smith, one of his favorite customers, Jordan started counting his points backward, starting from 40. So, of course, he ended up with 40 points. Like Bird, Jordan would also say to his opponents how he would score and then do exactly what he said. After Dikembe Mutombo said that Mike never dunked on him, MJ caught him on a poster in the very next game they played against one another and gave Mutombo a taste of his own medicine, his famous finger wag. Jordan talked trash to everybody, whether it was basketball, golf, cards, or throwing dice with his security guards. Even his Hall of Fame speech was filled with little insults and funny slander, just to remind everybody that they are regular folk and that he is Michael Jordan. Steve Smith. Talented wide receivers are usually some of the loudest people on the gridiron due to their superhuman speed and spectacular highlight-making ability. And the loudest of the loud wide receivers was Steve Smith, a 5-time Pro Bowler who made as many quotes as he did catches. According to Smith, he was talking smack from the moment he came out of the womb, and when he began torturing NFL defenses, you knew he wouldn't keep his mouth shut. That film was a coaching session. They're going to be coaching that. I'm 35 years old and I ran around them boys like they were schoolyard kids, Smith said about the Carolina Panthers in the first game against his former team. When a reporter asked him about his conditioning after an illness, Smith said, "You can ask my wife about my stamina." He was also really colorful in the description of his new team in 2014. "When I think of a Baltimore Raven, what I think of is, you go in there, we take your lunchbox, we take your sandwich, we take your juice box, we take your applesauce, and we take your spork, and we break it." Even at the very end of his career in 2016, he still talked trash to all defensive backs and called them trash. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Unlike American gridiron football or basketball, players are never mic'd up in association football, or soccer if you want. We can never know what kind of barbs, insults, and curses are traded on the pitch, but if there is a king of football trash-talking in the media, it's definitely Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Zlatan's confidence and braggadocious quotes are some of the most outrageous things you can hear in the sports world, and they've transcended the sport and merged into pop culture, similar to jokes about Chuck Norris. After John Carew said that his ball tricks were useless, Zlatan replied, "What Carew does with a football, I can do with an orange." When reporters asked him what engagement gift he got for his girlfriend, Ibra famously said, "What do you mean a gift? She's got Zlatan." After an underwhelming season under Pep Guardiola in Barcelona, Zlatan had this to say, "When you buy me, you're buying a Ferrari. If you drive a Ferrari, you put premium petrol in the tank. You hit the motorway and you step on the gas. Guardiola filled it up with diesel and took a spin in the countryside. He should have bought a Fiat." When an opposing player accused him of injuring him on purpose, Ibra completely lost it. "I didn't injure you on purpose, and you know that. If you accuse me again, I'll break both your legs, and that time, it will be on purpose." Ibrahimovic also called himself a god on numerous occasions and suggested removing the Eiffel Tower and replacing it with his statue. He truly is a living legend, and it will be a shame that he'll retire after the 2022 season. Football will surely miss him.